I couldn't be a bigger fan of this man. I've told him that to his face, and now I've told him that while he's sitting on hold while I get set to introduce the only man other than Bob Hope to host the Oscars as many times as he did. He had me at hello when he was a mime in Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. And the last time he directed a film was the great film 61 about Mantle and Maris 20 years ago. And now he's back helming this beautiful film that is in a theater near you starting tomorrow. He directed, he co-wrote it, he stars in the film with the hilarious Tiffany Haddish, the great Billy Crystal, here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Billy?
I'm good. Good. So nice to talk to you, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this. I could go so many different directions with you. Let's start with the Yankees. Did you see Stanton homered again today? Did you see that?
Already today?
Yeah, he did. They're playing today.
I just got up.
So did Stanton.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. He's this is the best he's ever played right now for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, what was the exit velocity?
I can't get enough of that stuff too. The shift drives me nuts. Exit velocity, spin rate is something I did not grow up with, Billy.
Rate, yeah.
You know, the spin rate. What do you make of the game today, Billy? I guess I'll give you the floor on that.
Baseball?
Yeah. What do you make of it?
Well, I always love baseball. I mean, some of the new rules are. I don't like the man on second in the 10th inning and
right.
that kind of stuff. And the guys are bigger, stronger. You know, when I was playing baseball, I was a second baseman. I was the right size. Now, I'm like a pinky ring to these guys. But it's still, I prefer to what's happening with the NBA, I have to say.
What do you got? What's with you in the NBA?
I just don't like the game anymore. I just don't like it's all, three-pointers and that's it. And some of the games just feel like all-star games. And the players are coming. It'll get better for me. And rooting for the Clippers hard.
So how did you become a Clipper fan? Because I imagine moving to Los Angeles, that is a conscious choice. That's a choice you have to make, living in Los Angeles, that you choose Clippers over Lakers. How did that happen for you?
I had Lakers seats for a while when I was here, and when I first got here. And then someone said to me, "You ever been to a Clipper game?" And I went. Basically, it was almost like saying, "I don't go downtown." and I went, and there was really nobody there. A triple-double meant there were 3 couples in the crowd. And so I liked the game. There was something about the sports arena, which was
right.
Still old and still had earthquake cracks in it, and they filled with foam, if you remember, in some of the hallways. It was crazy. But there was something about the underdog that I liked, and I just sort of stuck with it. And every time I thought I would leave, I go, they just got a good draft pick, except it was Olawokandi. So I just sort of stuck with it, and then over time, we got better and better, and we've been really good for the last 10 years. So it's I don't know, it was hard to say that's it for us, and we're very devoted to this team.
So what about this year? I mean, I clearly you've established that you've soured a bit on the game, NBA, but the Clippers are 3rd overall right now, and I guess 4th right now, tied with the Nuggets, but. They're looking good. They're 22 over. Kawhi, obviously, and George didn't perform in the bubble the way that everyone expected, but this is a different year. What do you think about this?
Yeah, we're very deep. We're still, in a way, getting to know each other. Adding Rondo and DeMarcus Cousins, who's looked better and better each game. And, but the players are a different thing. I'd love to see Terrence Mann play more and Luke Kennard as they work their rotations, because they just brought us so much life and brought us so much energy, which the team really needs.
So who's your favorite Clipper of all time? Which one was that?
Man.
What do you got for me? The entirety of your rooting existence, the one...
There's so many. There were so many, actually, that was great. But Elton Brand was certainly great for us. And Chris, who for me is the MVP of the league this year.
Yes,
what he's done. So I'd say Chris and Elton Brand were just sensational players for us.
Billy Crystal here on the Rich Eisen Show. Before I get into your film here today, I So moved. It's 5 years ago, but I'll bring it up. I can't believe it's 5 years. But your speech, your eulogy in memorializing Muhammad Ali 5 years ago was so remarkable. It was beautiful, Billy. There's no other word for it. Kind of like the movie that we're going to talk about here today, because it is about mortality. It is about also, making the most of your time on Earth, because you're here today, and who knows about tomorrow. Your relationship with Muhammad Ali started when, and were you up on that stage at any point in time? Just can't believe that you are, in fact, one of the few chosen to speak about this behemoth, this absolute legend on Earth, Billy Crystal.
It was unbelievably moving and an incredible journey, Rich. It started in right after he beat George Foreman. So that's 1974. And the late Dick Schaap, who was one of my closest friends, this is the first time I met him back in '74. He was then the editor of Sport Magazine, and Ali was named the Man of the Year, the Sport Magazine Man of the Year. So they were having this local television special from the Plaza Hotel, and he called my agent looking for Robert Klein. Rob is a great comedian, as you know, and did a lot of funny sports stuff, to do like 3-4 minutes at the dinner. And then Robert was out of town. So my agent said, I've got this new kid. I had not been on anything, Rich. I had not done anything. I was a substitute teacher in the junior high that I went to. And so we said, but I got this kid, and he does this really funny Ali Cosell thing. It might be perfect for you. Dick said, great. I didn't even have to hear it. Have him at the show Friday around 7 o'clock. The dinner starts at 8, and he'll go on around like 8:30, so on and so forth. So I get this call that I'm going to be there, and I'm going to sit on the dais. The last dais I had been on was my bar mitzvah. And when I get there, it's all of the men of the year in the different sports. So Archie Griffin had won the Heisman. He's there. Gina Marchetti was professional football, Baltimore Colts. He's there. On and on and on, and including Neil Simon, who was, the greatest of all time.
Yes.
American playwright in many ways, definitely comedy playwright. And it's all of these amazing people, and Dick shows me where I'm going to sit, and I go, and I'm 3 seats from my hero, because it wasn't, the boxing, of course, but this was the guy who was the voice of my generation. With the Kennedys gone and Martin Luther King gone, this was the man who came to college campuses. This is the man who spoke about Vietnam. This is the man who defied the draft, and he spoke for us. And I'm 3 seats from him, and I can't believe it that I'm there. And then I get up when Dick introduces me, which I said, just introduce me as Ali's closest and dearest friend, because nobody knew who the hell I was, because I didn't know. And I'll go right into the Cosell of it. I won't have to explain anything,
right.
And that'll relax me, and it'll, I think, funny. It'll be funny that way. So he does it. Ali's just staring at me as I walk behind him. I get to the podium. I go right into it. He goes crazy. He calls me his little brother, and that's how we were for 42 years for then. So now he's gone. I'm sitting there in the Coliseum, and I'm sitting next to President Clinton, and I'm about to go up there, and all I'm thinking is, what if Robert Klein was in town?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Right? I mean, it's about fate. It's about fate or destiny somehow, and it was a real friendship. And I just, to this day, I'm at home looking at pictures of us together. Mm. When I was on tour with my Broadway show 700 Sundays, we were playing in Arizona in a beautiful Frank Lloyd Wright theater there, and it was Ali's 65th birthday. So I went to the house in the morning, and we had breakfast together, and he said he wanted to come to the show. So the show was at 8 o'clock, and Lonnie, his amazing wife, said, I'm concerned about him, being a distraction in the audience. And I said, well, I'll get a chair, and I'll put it in the wings, and he'll watch from the wings. So we got like this very comfortable chair for him. It was almost like a throne. And he watched the show from the wings. And when we went to intermission, I said to the audience, before you go, I want to wish a happy birthday to who is now the greatest senior citizen of all time, Muhammad Ali. And they applauded. I said, I think you should applaud more because he's here. And I brought him out from the wings, and the place went berserk.
Of course.
And it was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Life is amazing. Billy Crystal, 5-time Emmy Award winner, Tony Award winner for 700 Sundays, you just mentioned, and then this film that's in theaters tomorrow that you directed, co-wrote, and you star in the film with Tiffany Haddish called Here Today. And you just mentioned, what a moving story about, what you said about Muhammad Ali, and it was such a beautiful speech. You were also, and I thought about this as I was watching your movie, Billy, you were also the MC for Dick Schaap's memorial. I was there because, as you know, I'm friendly with Jeremy, or Jeremy Schaap, ESPN, as he always signs off. And I sat there that day in that beautiful church, that landmark church in New York, and you mentioned how Dick was 40 when you guys met. And I was, in my early 30s, thinking that I had met everybody in my life that I would consider a great friend by that point. And I saw the fact that you are now emceeing a memorial for one of the all-time greats. Patti LuPone sang and Martina Navratilova spoke. And it hit me so hard that, my life is ahead of me, right? Like in terms of who, you never know who you're going to meet. And that's the sensibility in a way that is in your film right now, that about you playing a writer who is becoming ill and meeting Tiffany Haddish, who becomes such an important member of his life. It really struck me. It is a beautiful film about mortality and about humanity, and I just wanted to say that to set you up about why you made this film, Billy. I'm
glad you saw it, and that it moved you. It's a movie about the true meaning of friendship and love, and it's very funny. And it's about something that's missing in our country, I believe, which is empathy, and it's about sacrifice, about someone giving up something important to them to help somebody else who's in need. And I wanted to do, I started writing it with my dear friend Alan Zweibel, who's an original SNL writer. We've known each other for almost 50 years. And I saw him on the Letterman show, and he described this charity auction lunch that he went through, which was just a disaster, which is true in the movie. That's what set me off. He was on Letterman talking about it. He's having lunch with this woman. She says she doesn't really like humor, and she said, "Well, I'm just curious. How much did you pay for the auction?" He said, $22. And then she has a reaction to the seafood salad. She blows up. He has to get an ambulance. She has no insurance. He's at the hospital. They give him a bill for $2,300, and he has to give her an EpiPen shot to save her life. So this is a luncheon from hell. So I'm watching Letterman. I started writing. I wrote to him, Al, this is a great way to start something. I don't know who these people are, of course, but what a great way to start the relationship, and so let's see where we go. And that was the jumping off point. And then I was dealing with a relative. It was really my last relative standing, and she was a novelist and had written 7 books, and a very brilliant woman, and she started to lose her vocabulary. As she said, I'm losing my words. And it was so moving to me, and we took care of her right, up until we couldn't anymore. And I thought if we could roll that in to this character, then what starts off as a broad comedy becomes something much more important, then we might really have something. And then we just started taking off from there and developing the characters. And over a 2-year period, we had a script that we liked. Got it to Tiffany. She signed on immediately. I met her. I had only seen her on SNL hosting, which she was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I said, look at this. This is meant to be. She's so funny. She's so charming. She sings. She does all the things that the character, Emma Page, has to do in the film. And that was it. And I'm really blessed to have worked with her, and that she's was so willing to stretch, Rich. She's a 5-tool player.
She is a 5-tool player.
No, she does it all. And to mine that and use that, all those different talents, and really, even stretch her in ways that she hadn't done in films, and she was so willing to grow and develop herself, and she's beautiful in the movie.
And again, the Beautiful is a great way to describe it, and it's available in theaters nationwide starting tomorrow. It's called Here Today. So,
can I tell you one last little story?
Please.
Which you reminded me of?
No, go for it.
In that beautiful church, St. John's, where Dick's memorial was.
Yes.
That's where Howard Cosell's funeral was.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I think it holds 1,500 people, and they were out on the streets with loudspeakers and stuff. And I'm sitting next to Ali, and it's a closed casket. Okay, flowers on top, everything, and the speech after speech, and Ali taps me on my arm and whispers to me in my ear. He says this: "Do you think he's wearing his hairpiece?"
How does one respond to that?
I was like, this was one of those, who passed gas in church or synagogue. Somebody farted, and you can't hold your laughter, So I'm holding it in, and I go, I don't think so. And he goes, so how will God recognize him? So I said, once he opens his mouth, he'll know who he is. It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, Cosell is part of the reason why I'm in this business. I grew up watching him on Monday Night Football, seeing his cameos on The Odd Couple. Seriously, like growing up in New York City, listening to him. Marv Albert's another reason why.
Mm-hmm.
But Cosell, you just don't. How many lawyers turned broadcasters are we ever going to see ever again in
Right.
our lifetime? So I
Very
assume.
true.
Did he like your imitation or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. And then I started, you play around with him. One, it was bigger. It was, sort of predictable kind of imitation of him. But then I started doing him, like ordering room service in a hotel. On the phone, I'm much funnier. It would be like, hello, room service, Howard Cosell, room 707. Listen, I'd like some eggs. Over, easy. And then an English muffin, well done, please. Not like yesterday. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh!
But Rich, he was bigger than life, though.
No doubt.
Wasn't he? I mean, one year in the TV Guide poll, he was most admired and most hated in the same poll.
Oh yeah.
So
right?
that's where you want to be for somebody like that.
I can't get enough of those stories. Al Michaels has a million of them, as I'm sure you know, about Cosell. And, it kind of kills me that we're in a day and age where some of us might have to actually explain to others who he was and what he meant.
Oh, yeah.
But a giant, an absolute giant. Billy, I could take up your entire day. I really could, because we didn't even hit anything from your filmography. But let's do this again whenever you wish. I'd love to have you back, Billy. Thank
All right,
you.
Rich. Good to see you. I hope to see you at a game sometimes. It means we're getting back to normal.
I would look forward to it. Maybe a playoffs. Maybe the playoffs.
I hope so. What do you think? What's your choice?
I don't know. I think you might be right deep down. This could be Chris Paul's year. I don't know. I know they got spanked last night, but that's just recency bias.
But don't you think he's the MVP?
I think, you've got...
The Joker's been unbelievable. I mean, I watched it. He did stuff last night that to the Knicks, I just couldn't believe.
But
they don't have anybody with any kind of bulk to guard him, because, he's a truck, this guy. But so talented.
There's Doc's new spot, too. There's Doc's new spot, and Joel Embiid has been phenomenal. I mean, just off the charts phenomenal. So you never know. Steph Curry has been maybe the best he's ever been. It's a great conversation, though. But Paul has been incredible. He has been.
Yeah.
So
and
I don't
a great
know.
guy, too.
I look forward to seeing how it all play out. Billy, thanks for the call. Congrats on Here Today.
My pleasure, Rich. Take care of yourself.
You bet. That's Billy Crystal, the director, co-writer, and star of Here Today, which you can see in theaters near you starting tomorrow. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.